Well, hello, guys. I know we had this conversation before, but I'd only been given half the truth. So we're gonna have the whole conversation now, and all my gods are gonna be dead. Just so they know. Actually, no, I'm very proud of them. They pulled the most epic snow job on me ever. Remember how I was working with Greek gods? I never worked with Greek gods, not ever. Loki's a son of a bitch and a rat bastard, and Balder helped. Balder helped, and Freyr helped, and Freya helped. I'm like, you are a rat bastard. You all ran a snow job on me. I said, wait, who played the girls? I don't know. Loki, you know what? I hate you right now. I love you. I'm hot in armor. Screw you, Loki. I love you. He's evil. He's evil. He's pure evil. Balder is pure evil. Balder has kind of like a lot of masks that he can wear, kind of like his father. He can be sweet and pure and butter wouldn't melt in his mouth, and his other form I call Captain Jack Sparrow. He's quite the charmer, and he's not fussed over gender, and he's very dangerous with the charm, and he knows it, and he used it to get his way, and he played several of the gods. And Loki's very proud of him, and Loki's like, he got what he wanted. Oh god, you're easy to fool. And I'm like, screw you, Loki. And Loki's like, yeah, he tricked you. I'm so proud of him. I tell him everything he knows. And I'm like, oh. But Loki did it so that he could build obligations. And I'm like, you're a rat bastard. I hate you. And Loki's like, this is for your own good. So I have Balder now. I never met Braggy, apparently. I met Balder. Balder's like my god of whatever the hell he wants to be my god of. He's kind of like Loki. He's exactly like if Loki and Odin had a child, and they probably did already, and we just don't know. I heard several back there. He's like their child. If they had a child together, he would be their child. Odin and Loki, he's purely like their child. Thor obviously has an outside influence because Thor has common sense. Where Balder, he has a side to him that he's a con artist, and he's like this swashbuckling pirate figure, and he's the hero in his own mind, and he does things that they don't have to be ethical. So he has that one real weirdly extreme side that's all ethics and never was a bad word spoken, and that doesn't appeal to me at all. And he has, he's back here laughing, and he has a side that, you know, he's quite the dandy and he's quite the people's man, and I couldn't just say ladies man, I get the general impression he really doesn't care. And he was one of the ones that talked me into all these statues and all these altars. And they made me go through this penance knowing I had gotten a snow job. It's not like the other Norse gods didn't know I got a snow job. They were all in on it. So I could learn some discipline, and they could kind of set it up for Balder to come in. Because Balder, Halder, blah, blah, blah. Holly King, Oak King, blah, blah, blah. Good enough for them. They're never going to tell you the truth. They're never going to tell you the truth. They'll just laugh and tell you 5 different stories. I think I've gotten 5 different stories at least from Balder. And Loki always tells me different stories. One time Loki broke down in tears and told me he found Balder under a rock as a baby. And when Loki is in the moment and telling you one of his stories, he actually believes his own stories. And you just kind of look at him. So yeah, Loki found Balder under a rock, and he adopted him, and he's Loki's son. Do not take it as UPG, it's just Loki being Loki. Loki will say and do random things. He's had arguments with clocks before. I've seen him do it, and I've just kind of looked at him. I feel like my gods came from the same asylum out of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That's what I feel like, but it was good knowing I got a snow job, and I've respected them for that, because I'm like the only person in my family doesn't routinely break the law. So I come from not like some great crime family, but most of the people in my family are criminals and they'll routinely break the law. They just don't get caught. That's why they're not all in jail. Some are because they're dumbasses and they get caught. Some don't. Um, so it was like something you could kind of respect, and I could kind of respect where they're coming from. I don't condone it, but I do know that when there's no other way to get something, it's perfectly fine in my ethics to go get it whatever way you need it. So he played a snow job on me. And I tried to look up Boulder UPG, and I did find one article that was interesting, compared him to this other god. And it is a Lokean sense that people have thought of, Loki was in on it. Loki, and not having anything to do with Ragnarok. Loki did this yearly ritual with Balder and Halder, or he wasn't even involved at all, or he was involved and he oversaw it. We've lost so much. We don't know most of our own lore from our own gods. So I never met a Greek god. I never will. This explains so much. Balder thinks, though, Dionysus statues are nice for Balder. Because he's having a good time in Hellenheim. He's having a good time. And he can be wherever he wants to. I get that general impression. Obviously, if he's talking to people, he can be wherever he wants. He's having a fine time. And he used to have a fine time in his hall, too. And I'm like, this explains so much. And I'm not saying that, by the way, to disrespect you if you've had, like, this totally different experience with Balder. I think I meant that face of Balder once. And I was just, like, we have nothing in common whatsoever. But I wasn't gonna be rude and say that to him. I was just like, you exist. That's lovely for you. Because I could never figure out how the All-Father could have a child that would be sweet and pure. I mean, hanging around his father for 5 minutes should have told him all he needs to know about life. And he was the one that was appearing in that dream, sitting on that wooden throne in that cave system and looking up, a shaft, looking up a shaft. Oh, shut up, Loki, don't help. And seeing the world above. It was Balder putting on monkey shine, so I got played by the All-Father's son, and Thor is loving it, and Odin thinks it's hilarious. And so that ends the tug of war, because there never was another group of gods. It was just my gods playing ultimate snow job on me, and they all wanted statues, but they didn't like the Norse statues. They wanted Greek statues. Now that's with me. That's not with you. That was with me, because they knew I would look at the Greek statues and they look aesthetically pleasing, but, plus the Norse statues are a lot more expensive, so I have no idea. I serve the strangest gods in the world. I've given up trying at this point, trying to figure them out. They're crazy. I think they're all nuts. Loki's Becker, we know what we like. So they got all this stuff they wanted because they knew I'm like a real stickler for associations. I actually am. And since roses aren't heavy in Norse mythology that I know of, I would not have like a ton of roses or a ton of grapes or anything. Because how many stories do we have grapes in them? Seriously. Unless somebody did a UPG. I would not have all these fertility associations all around, even though Freyrs, God bless them, would have them. And I'm getting you the idea that, a lot of the other ones have them too. It's just, we've lost so much. I'm sure that when the Christians came in and they saw these big phallic statues, that's the first thing they burned. Because remember, a lot of our stuff was made out of wood. So it either rotted, or it was burned, or the temples were just lost, or the temples were burnt and sacked, or whatever. So, I serve very naughty, evil gods. But, it was actually comforting to know, because when Balder's with me, he's really comforting presence. Do not help! He's that grounding presence I feel. Shut up, Loki. He's the one that feels really grounded. It makes you feel like everything's going to be okay. He might be mischievous, and he might, you know, get up to something and like to act like a rogue, but he could also be, you know, serious and pretend to be a gentleman. So yeah, the problem is we have so little to go on with him. We have one story of him. We have later stories that people will say, oh, that's a different boulder or something. We have UPG, but we really don't have a ton of material on him. But I know he's full of his mischiefs. I like the story. I read it just today. I'd never seen this before, but after he'd been born, you know, to his mom, it kind of felt like he was grown up in a day, and Odin's children tend to do that. And dwarves came and they put him in like a boat. And I guess he was born, but he was kind of still, like he was dead. And he was traveling underground on this river, and as soon as he came out into the light, he sat up and they had put a harp beside him and he started to play beautiful music. So, you know, the association with music and the sun and I know I'm so freaking stupid and everything else. And I was like, that's interesting. I don't know if that's a UPG or that's like lost text or something. You know how I kind of vaguely pay attention at times. But it was an interesting story. And remember, all of our stories are just that. They're stories. They're stories somebody either felt they experienced, like a UPG, or somebody made up somewhere, or they thought the gods told them this, and this is how they got the impression, or they just straight made them up because of whatever. So I try not to put too much salt in anyone's story, but there you go. I have naughty, ill-behaved gods. So we're gonna make a kind of late supper, I think, and, you know, go up and keep reading. Allfather's been after me to keep reading, reread again, American Gods. I don't know why. I'm like, okay, whatever. So, excuse me, he's going to use that to his advantage. So, if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe. I probably won't talk about Baldur too much just because I know that what I'm experiencing is so much unlike what he's described of in our lore. I'm like, I don't want to make people mad. I already talk about Loki's a good guy. I'm like, I'm pushing it already, but that's just the experience I'm having. And the Baldur, I know, is very dangerously charming. He's kind of a rogue, and he's you get the idea. He knows where a lot of bodies are buried. And maybe these gods just put this on with me because they know I like that, and I find it strangely comforting for some reason. But, you know, to each their own. So if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.